Hello and thanks for checking out TheChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey crypto friends, currently traveling for the week. I realize the backlighting behind me is not ideal, but in Florida for a few more days and enjoying the cryptocurrency bounce that's underway right now. Very similar to the MJ bounce last week, the reason being completely one-sided sentiment, and I've had other traders comment, and it's certainly an observation I've made, where it was very similar to that bounce last week. So even if you don't trade stocks, go back and check out on the YouTube channel the video called What Do CGC and Tesla Have in Common? And I talk about the psychological mindset of one-sided trades where we look in the other direction and we play the contrarian. And that's where we were at for the cryptocurrency space. Everybody capitulating and bearish on Twitter. But really what it boils down to is the same outlook for me. I'm looking for a monthly high or low that can happen anywhere between here and 3,128, and I'm anticipating a monthly equilibrium is going to form into mid-2020. So as long as we're looking for that monthly high or low, there is no despair. If you want to see me bearish long-term, set that monthly high or low, break the pattern of a lower high every month, see a bounce attempt, reject with the inability to break 13,800, and then roll over and set a monthly lower high and lower low. If you do that, I will be bearish the cryptocurrency space and pretty significantly bearish the crypto space. But as long as we have this same period of consolidation looking for that monthly high or low, I will be buying extreme oversold dips. So I was a buyer down here and I had one of 3 orders fill. And I cannot stress enough how it is important to determine whether you want to be conservative or aggressive before ever entering any trade. I am a conservative bull because I'm only trading this space bullish on Coinbase Pro at this point, and that's been going well the past 2 years, and I'm going to keep doing that until it stops going well. But my point is I'm staying conservative, and I approached this trade yesterday saying, all right, I have bids set if 67.75 breaks. I did not get any orders filled on this initial pullback. We saw a 4-hour top of the bounce, high or low. Here's the bull's chance. Change that 4-hour trend, get over exponential resistance, and the bounce on the daily will be underway. We failed at resistance. We rejected from the exponential moving average and we rolled over and dropped to a lower low. So I went to bed last night with orders set at 65.55, 63.15, and 61.11. I put more space, more percentage distance in between my bids, the more cautious I want to be. If I'm going to be aggressive, I'm going 66.11, 65.20, 64.30, and staggering it that way. But I wanted to be more cautious, knowing I'd be asleep, and I stagger them with 3+% in between those orders. And so I got one fill. It ended up being a really good fill. And I know a lot of people might find that hard to believe. So I took a little picture here. 10,000 Bitcoin filled at 65.55. Just kidding. It wasn't 10,000, but that price level is where I got filled. And I have sold some already. And what I do is I place orders just in case big spikes happen out of nowhere. And I placed a sell order today at 61.89 for a 10% move, or make that 71.89, and it got filled on that spike up that we saw this morning that came out of nowhere here. And that was just a nice high volume continuation move. So what that does now is put me in the complete full control driver's seat of this trade, because I have sold half of my position from 65.55 to 71.89. So let's just call it a $600 move. That means to go break even on this trade, we would have to drop down to 5,900. So I'm going to ride the second half of this position out and look for a 4-hour trend change. And this has the best chance of being a 4-hour trend change, in my opinion, with a higher low and higher high. We haven't topped out yet. Once we do, we look for that higher low. But the best chance, because we are over the 12 period and 26 period, haven't closed over the 26 period, but at least over the 12 period for the first time in over a week. And the nice increase in bull volume. You can see the last time we had a decrease in volume So a little bit of a different setup. And we've got some short-term resistances, 73.92, 73.61. We topped out at 73.78, so in between those two levels. And what I want to see as a bull is an inverse head and shoulders pattern where if we fail here and need to consolidate, we set a 4-hour higher low and then a higher high. So in the end, I only got 1 out of 3 orders filled, but it was my lackadaisical approach. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, I didn't care at all if this bounce took place without me. So that kept me conservative. That kept my bids really low, and that kept nice space in between my bids because I knew if this bounce took place without me and I got no fill, we're just going to set a daily lower high, and we're still going to remain in a daily downtrend as the most likely scenario. So having that lackadaisical approach and not having this fear of, I'm going to miss this bounce, I'm going to miss this move, I need to make money on this move, it keeps you from over trading or entering too early. So if I have the approach, yeah, if I fill, great, I'll get some good fills, we'll be in extreme RSI levels. If my orders don't fill and it bounces without me, no biggie, we'll see that bounce take place to a daily lower high, and I'll establish a game plan from there. Having that laid back mindset saves you from scaling in too early and being too aggressive when the bears are in control. The daily RSI is why I was perfectly fine entering in the mid to low $6,000 range. Daily RSI was approaching the teens at that point. The 12-hour RSI was crushed. The 4-hour RSI was beat up. So those were all reasons I was comfortable. But now we're zoomed out to the daily, and we're looking for a daily lower high to form compared to 86.37. Anything under that level is a daily lower high. We're not changing trends long term. Bears are going to be waiting for a daily lower high to make an entry now that the daily RSI has cooled off. If we're going to see a monthly higher low set, we need to change the weekly trend, and that's not happening anytime soon. We could bounce. Anything under 10,500 is just a weekly lower high, and it's going to take a while to change the weekly trend. Step number 1, we have to change the daily trend. So I don't have a stop on the second half of my position right now. I'm waiting for a clear support level to be established, and I'll probably wait for the 4-hour time frame to give us a higher low, make an attempt to try and see continuation, and then where that higher low has been established, I will place my stop level for the second half of my position. So that's where we stand. A lot of coins, most altcoins that I looked at this morning, saw a bigger percentage bounce than what Bitcoin saw. So there's plenty of bounce opportunity out there. But again, don't lose sight that you know these bears are just patiently waiting for entries on lower highs. Like I said, I would be waiting for a little bit more follow through from the bulls before I was scouting a bearish entry. I would want a clear daily lower high, perhaps daily exponential resistance, but that is the mindset of what the bears are going to be looking at because they have control of the daily and weekly trend right now. And the 4-hour trend. We still need Bitcoin to change this 4-hour trend for the bulls to prove anything to us as far as how much follow through this bounce can see. Ethereum. So daily oversold bounce trying to get underway. We still have a pattern of a lower high every day for the last 8 days in a row. That has not broken yet. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, we have not broken resistance 154.54. So technically we're still in a 4-hour lower high pattern, and again, it's going to have to be this inverse head and shoulders setup. If we reject from here, have to form that 4-hour higher low, change the trend, and see that inverse head and shoulders pattern end up playing out. Have we topped out just yet? Not yet. If we see a failed attempt to break resistance and then lose this hourly support, then we can say 4-hour consolidation is underway. Eth Btc. So initially, Ethereum saw this bounce taking place at the same time on its Bitcoin pairing and on its US dollar pairing. And that had good benefit for Ethereum being a bounce leader comparative to Bitcoin, but that has faded now. So again, we're looking back at the daily time frame. Really, it's the weekly time frame that I care about. We're looking for a weekly higher low compared to 1891, and the bulls have to break 2182 to change this weekly trend. And until that happens, we could see some choppy trading. The tighter we get on the longer term time frames, the more choppy the shorter term time frames can get. And so that's something that we're keeping an eye on and patiently watching those longer term levels before I'm going to start trading Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. And that's personally going to be my criteria. Weekly trend change required. So Litecoin trying to bounce, but again, lower high every day for the last 8 days in a row. That pattern's still intact with the 4-hour resistance still there of 48.65, inverse head and shoulders if we cannot break that level. And you can see just comparing to Bitcoin, we broke one level, not the second, but both Ethereum and Litecoin broke neither level from their previous bounce attempt. Still need work to see follow through. Could this be a daily bear flag? Absolutely. We must prepare ourselves for a leg down in every scenario. We can always drop lower, and as long as we're expecting that possibility, we're not going to get caught with our pants down and not have a stop loss in place and then all of a sudden be a bag holder. LTC BTC, big upper wick as well, no follow through, and I need a daily trend change before I even look at Litecoin instead of Bitcoin, and that big upper wick is keeping me from having any interest in Litecoin as a bull. XRP has been our weakest name that we cover very clearly. We just hit, before this bounce, the lowest price that XRP has hit in this entire consolidation period since the massive run in 2017. I know there's a lot of fundamental XRP bulls out there on social media. They have absolutely no justification of being bullish when the charts are dropping to the lower lows. That's like Bitcoin dropping below 3,200 right now, and we're obviously nowhere near that. There is no justification to be in an XRP position bullish, in my opinion, unless you're playing this short-term bounce or unless you're going to hold it to your grave. There's just so many technical signals that have this as our weakest name, and that's been the case for a while. So until that changes, it's not going to run away without you. You can wait for longer-term trend changes. You can wait for it to gain strength against Bitcoin to be looking to play it. It has the same oversold bounce attempt going on as the other names. 4 hour, just a lower high looking to form under 2331, 23301. We need a 4 hour trend change, just like everybody else. But again, big picture, it's a lot weaker than everybody else that we cover out of coins. So I'm not going to be looking to play the weakest name bullish. I'm going to be looking to play the weakest name bearish and the strongest names bullish. That's the way to do it with trading. And that's the way to prevent from holding bags. So again, anything on the daily chart under 255 will just be a daily lower high. If we change the daily trend, we're just looking for a weekly lower high. Do we have a monthly equilibrium? No. We have a monthly bear flag that technically has already confirmed. And it's just a much different setup than other names. BNB. So BNB is trying to bounce. Weekly support of 1425. Did end up breaking, so it is a weekly lower high and lower low. But a solid daily bounce. Let's look at the 4 hour. 1651 is resistance. Anything under that is a 4 hour lower high. We must change the 4 hour trend into tomorrow on all of these names for the bulls to have short-term control. If we fail to break 4 hour trends or change 4 hour trends, bears still have complete control, and we're going to be heading back down to our recent lows. So the next 12 hours into tonight will be critical, and we have to see ideally very healthy consolidation for a 4 hour higher low to form. NEO, again, same thing. 4 hour, 1018 is the resistance. If we reject, we must hold the low and then break the 4 hour downtrend, change that trend, and see follow through. Right now, NEO is one of the weaker names. It broke bearish under its recent low first, and then everybody else followed, and now it's a weaker bounce as well. This bounce did not get within 6-7% of its 4 hour lower high, which would be like if Bitcoin had only bounced as high as 6,900. So it is one of the weaker names. If we're going to classify stronger names versus weaker names, I'm putting XRP and NEO on the weaker side, and I'm putting pretty much most other names on the side where Bitcoin stands, as their setups are much similar to Bitcoin. Link is standing out as a lead bull. And actually, let's see. So on the hourly time frame, we did get a nice leg up after the fact. I take back what I just said, though. It's not a lead bull because the 4 hour time frame, 247, it's the same setup as everybody else, essentially. 4 hour trend change is needed. We were just a little bit of a laggard, it looks like, where we topped out and then saw that continuation. And while that was happening, Bitcoin, well, it did as well. Okay, so I was just a bit confused. But Link is in the same setup where we have to change the 4 hour trend. We're clearly setting a lower high compared to the previous 4 hour bounce high, and that must change into tomorrow. Matic USD or USDT, this is a lead bull, and there's a lot of members that are flipping this for short-term trades because that volatility is there, and it is extremely strong. Hourly time frame, higher low is 19.7. Anything above 19.7 keeps the uptrend intact. Bulls want to be a bit cautious of the head and shoulders pattern here, where we have this as the left shoulder, this is the head. If we fail to break the high of 2105 and then roll over and lose the hourly uptrend, that's when we know our temporary top is set and 4-hour consolidation is going to begin. It's certainly a 4-hour bearish reversal candlestick right now, although there's still 2 hours to go. Definitely want to be cautious up here, especially if the rest of the cryptocurrency space consolidates for a 4-hour higher low to form. We know Matic will likely follow along as well. And the Matic BTC chart exploding, where it is just way stronger than Bitcoin. We have an hourly equilibrium now with our high of 293. Our low of the pullback is 2.6. Our lower high is 287. And 2.6 is a key level. If we break 2.6, we're then in an hourly downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. And that could indicate that a daily inside bar would be very likely tomorrow if we lose that hourly high or low. So if you're looking for volatility to trade in both directions, Matic certainly has it and certainly has a lot of attention on it. But otherwise, most setups are similar. Some names are weaker, some names are stronger. But the bottom line is 4-hour trend changes into tomorrow are essential if this daily bounce is going to continue with some follow through. And if it doesn't, I will gladly jump back to all cash and patiently wait for the next opportunity. And at this point in the cryptocurrency space, I will remain picky for the rest of the year as long as we are in a clear downtrend. I will go aggressive if we're in weekly, monthly, daily uptrends, but as long as that is not the case, I'm going to stay conservative. So congrats to anybody who played this bounce. Congrats to the bears on the way down. Those of you playing bearish, I'm sure, had some great gains. And now just reestablishing a game plan on when you're looking to re-enter bearish. Again, just giving the bulls a chance. And I'll say again that this is the best chance the bulls have to change their 4-hour trend that I've seen in the last 2 weeks. Because of the size of the bounce, the bull volume, the size of the space for the higher low to form, the amount of space. And I would be a bit cautious as a bear. So thanks again. Hope you are well. Hope trading is going well. Ending it here with a little bit of some clips I've taken around Florida. And we will check back in at some point to see if this 4-hour trend change took place. Again, if by 24 hours from now we do not have a clear 4-hour inverse head and shoulders pattern and trend change, that's a red flag for bulls. Do good things. We'll see you soon.